How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.
Winning runs from KL Rahul at Lucknow against Lucknow on what was clearly Delhi's day. And we look at the multiple tactical decisions by Rishabh Pant's side that are worth being looked at now that their team has gone down so timidly, if I can put that word, on Maruti Suzuki Arena Presents. ESPN Riggin for Timeout. To the panel of Cheteshwar Pujara, Nick Knight, and ESPN Riggin for's very own Matt Roller, who will now break down with all his years of wisdom, trying to understand captaincy and analysts, why Lucknow did what they did. But for starters, now we can properly say that that was a team that didn't look like Lucknow, a team that's won 5 games, a team that is closer to the top half than the bottom. Why was this such a sorry effort by Lucknow? Puji?
Today, just to start off with the way they batted, I thought one is the strategy, and then I felt they didn't because they didn't have enough runs on the board. But at the same time, the way Rishabh led the team, it was disappointing. Some of the changes we were talking in the lounge, but I still would like to say that to bring in Shardul at a time where you had a couple of overs from Prince Yadav, who has been bowling well. I don't know why he goes to Shardul towards the end, but that's the time when you know that there's a young fast bowler who has been bowling well in the middle overs. You didn't bowl him. Then you bowled someone like Ravi Bishnoi, who has been very expensive this season.
Right.
And to bowl at a crucial time when you know that the opposition batter are under pressure and then they are looking for an over which can be a big one. And then that's not the time to bowl Ravi Bishnoi, because that's the time when you need your experienced bowlers who has been bowling well to come in and bowl those crucial overs.
It's interesting that Puji starts with his decisions in the second half, because we could start talking about Lucknow's tactics even in the first half. But Nick, why was that just not a contest in some ways, even though it went on as long as 18 overs?
Well, I love the game. I love talking about it. I love watching it. I didn't particularly love watching that game. I mean, it was a tough watch because one side was so below par and the other played pretty well. So there wasn't really a contest. So why? I mean, you guys are right. It was poor tactically a little bit at the end, but really the game was up at half time. Realistically, the game was up at half time. It was going to take something remarkable for that not to be the case. And then you look at perhaps Mayank Yadav, maybe I'm just going over the top with that, but you need something that's going to give you a spark, something that's going to give the performance a bit of punch.
100%.
And I think that's something they're going to have to look at a little bit. But the truth is, for all the tactical stuff we're talking about, they just didn't have enough runs.
Yeah, and I want to sort of praise Delhi. We'll talk about their bowling, which was very good. We spoke about that in the halftime show. But in the second innings, it seems like they didn't need to do too much. Catches went down, ball went through fielders, bowling changes that Puji points out. Is there anything worth telling us with the story you write, with the phases and numbers in this game, that is worth bringing up at this point?
Well, I think Nick's spot on that the problem was runs, and I think they were 87 for none off with the ball left in the 10th over, and then 72 for 6 from there on in the last 10.1 of their innings. And Lucknow are a side that's set up to score more than par and use the pressure of the scoreboard to defend it, which they've done a couple of times successfully. But if you're getting a total like that, you've got no chance.
Batting is supposed to be their strength. Marsh, Makram, Puran. But surely they can't do it every game. And well, they did do it in this game. It was a different kind of game, Puji. They had an 87-run opening stand, but Marsh struggled a little bit. Why was even the first half, and I'll come to the second half in a second, why was even the first half and even the finish with Miller, 14 of 15 with 1 boundary, why was it not explosive when you have batters who are explosive?
Well, one was the way Delhi bowlers bowled. They bowled well. You need to give credit to them, the way they executed their Yorkers, someone like Mukesh, and even the way Kuldeep has been bowling. He has been brilliant. So you need to have a right strategy to take them down. And I felt that because they keep losing wickets, I think they were under a bit of a pressure as a batting unit, because their top order has been clicking, but if you look at their middle order or the lower middle order, they hasn't been scoring a lot of runs. And clearly Pant not coming in also plays a little bit in the batter's mind that what are we looking at?
Let's go straight into that then, because at 87 without loss, Matt points out how many in the last 10 again?
So off the last 10.1, it was 72 for 6.
Oof, after being 87 without loss. And now this has to be the headline of the game, and Pant dropping down as late as he did, Badoni being impacted in, which takes Mayank Yadav out of it, like you said, an X-factor bowler. Wasn't right.
No, I'm trying to process it myself. And then David Miller, where does he pop in? Because sometimes he's batting there, sometimes he's dropped down, sometimes he hasn't come in. I'm all for flexibility, by the way. I'm all for changing up and matchups and all that stuff that they talk about. I'm all for that. I think that's great. I think that's got a role to play. But where I'm a little concerned for LSG is it's a little haphazard. It looks it. Maybe it's not, but it certainly looks it from afar. And for Rishabh to be dropping down there, as we spoke at half-time, I have no problems with Badoni coming in at 4, 5, something like that. I think he's playing well. I think he's worthy of that position. Also, Samad, he's done a decent job. I have no problem if the situation demands that he goes up the order a little bit. What I don't like and what I'm really grappling with, it doesn't look very good on Rishabh dropping down a bit further, dropping down a bit more. He's the guy that's going to be standing up in front of the guys in 5 minutes' time and saying, right, we've got to do this, we've got to do that. You want your leader to be out there. You want your leader to be leading with the way he's playing. And if he's not playing that way, keep giving him the chance to do it. That's the way I see it. Yeah. It's a 20-over game. It's not a lot of time,
I mean, Badoni's point we discussed at half-time, that he's been among the runs at least. That goes back to the confused use of the impact sub, not to mention putting Samad out of position when he's one of the few rare overs batters who's done well.
Yeah, I think if you look at how the best teams have used the impact sub since it's come in, I think it's been a really simple change. You look at how RCB are doing it now, they put in Padikal for Suyash Sharma or they put in Suyash Sharma for Padikal. It's very simple. You know what you're doing every time. You're effectively playing with 12 and putting a batter in for a bowler or a bowler for a batter.
GT as well, same thing?
GT, same thing.
Yep.
When you're sort of umming and ahhing about do we want the extra batter or not, are we depending on whether we lose early wickets, I think it all just gets muddled and you lose that clarity that having the extra batting depth seems to give you. You talk to any T20 batter around the world at the top of the order and they'll tell you that the longer the batting lineup, the more freedom they have to go and play attacking cricket.
I want to bring in Pant's comments, who's just spoken now at the end of the game. Very interesting. Pant says we were 20 runs short. Toss played a huge part. Whoever is bowling first gets a lot of help from the wicket. We just couldn't get it away. It always happens in Lucknow. Wicket becomes better in the second innings. That's how it goes. We can't make excuses but have to learn from it. We are using Ayush as impact player to try and give Mayank some game time early in the season, trying to fit him in since he's just come from NCA. We sent someone to capitalize on a wicket like that. I'm assuming he's speaking of Badoni and Samad's promotions. We sent someone to capitalize on a wicket like that. Miller came in, we got stuck on that wicket. We need to figure out our best combination. It's game 9, isn't it, for them?
It sounds like from the Mayank thing that they only want him if he's not one of 5 bowlers. I think they need him to be one of 6, they feel, at this stage, but that seems bizarre to me. If he's fit enough to bowl 2 overs, surely he's fit enough to bowl 4.
Yeah, but if it's the same thing.
Yeah, but presumably the idea is that if he comes on as impact sub and he's one of 6, then if something goes wrong, then they still have bowling cover. Whereas if he's one of 5, they don't. That's what I'm reading from that. But
yeah, fair enough.
Trying to get my head around what he said there.
Yes, and we did discuss at halftime. Then your best choice is you put a batter on the impact sub bench, and not Badoni, but a batter who bats 7-ish, 6, 7, and Badoni is always in your batting first 11. So
because he can't be your impact sub. I think he's someone who's batting up the order. He's batting at number 4 or 5. Then he should be there. You can't have an impact sub outside the 11 and then only if there is trouble, then you bring him in. Because you should have your top 5 or 6 in the playing 11 and then you have your number 7 or number 8, whoever it is, in the impact sub.
Yeah, I want you to elaborate a little more on the point you made about the impact that Pant's decision making of coming down the order, which we discussed at halftime. It's okay for him to say, we can't upset the openers and I'm not getting runs at 4, so let me bat lower order. And if that happens organically, that might still be acceptable. But given how this game played out today, what does that do for Pant's own confidence as he tries to find some rhythm and form at a crucial stage of the tournament? And what kind of message do you think it'll send to the rest of that team?
That's exactly where I was going. That's exactly right, because we've been in dressing rooms. The one thing that makes a dressing room more vulnerable than anything else is a captain under pressure. And clearly Rishabh Pant is a captain under pressure. So that's your first bit. Your second bit is how does the captain and the management deal with captain under pressure? That's really important. And that's my point, really, about what it looks like with Rishabh dropping down. Yeah, they've got a lot of questions, haven't they? And there's a lot of questions, really. I mean, some of those have been, they're almost admitting it themselves. They're not quite sure how they're going to go, how they're going to get the right balance. As you say, game 8, game 9?
Yep.
Good question. Maybe we should debate it. I mean, where does Rishabh go from here? I mean, next game, does he go in at number 4 again?
I think he should. That's the only way for LSG to do well. Because even if he doesn't get runs, that's fine.
I think you're
right.
I
think you can always accept failure from Rishabh Pant, but you are giving enough chance to succeed.
He has to go back to 4.
Yeah,
surely.
I mean, it's better to come out and fail than to not come out at all.
Yeah.
Just thinking of the wider dressing room. It's a terrible place when your captain is under the cosh.
And that didn't look like I say, I can't help but think that they've got 5 wins. If the Sunrisers at 5 wins now, or if CSK at 5 wins now, they'd be thinking, geez, we're on our way up here. The intensity is different, like we're seeing from some of the teams there. That didn't look like a team. Maybe we go back to the comments after the Rajasthan game, where quite a few of the viewer comments, which I'll take in a second, were, are LSG actually that good? Or have they just been a bit lucky? But I don't know if Delhi have shown us that there is actually a big gulf between Lucknow and in spite of where they find themselves on the points table.
Yeah, I think it's been instructive listening to people through the season, actually. A lot of people have been making their sort of halfway predictions. Who do they think is going to be in the top 4? And I've not heard many people say LSG, despite the fact they've had those 5 wins.
Absolutely. Let's talk a bit about Delhi and then take some comments, because they've played the game in front of them. And let's just go back to their bowling, since both of you, I think all 3 of you agree that they've nailed this with the ball. Now, Pant's comments also are interesting about more assistance to the bowlers in the first innings and toss being a big factor. I wonder what you both make of that.
Well, I said at half-time, I thought the pitch had slowed up a little bit. What I couldn't predict and what I didn't see was it got a little quicker, but clearly it did. Obviously, conditions changed a little bit, so I thought the pitch did get a little slower as that first innings went on. But I thought generally, Axar had an excellent game as captain.
Very good.
We're talking about Rishabh Pant and his problems. I thought Axar was excellent. Apart from Kuldeep, I think perhaps could have come into the attack an over or 2 earlier. Apart from that, I thought his use of Mitchell Stark was excellent. Mukesh, very good.
The use of himself.
Yeah, even the use of himself, which is a little unusual. 4 up front, bit different.
Remind us again how often
the first time in 10 years in the IPL that a captain's gone, well, not a captain, a spinner, I should say, has gone 1, 3, 5, 7.
And also, just to finish off on Axar, what about the way he finished the game there?
Very good.
Because he just took a little bit of pressure off Rahul. You talk about someone finishing 50 not out. It was quite convincing. It was pretty authoritative. I'm the captain. I'm going to see us home. I'm the aggressor. The other guy can just knock it around. We'll finish the game and over too early.
Yeah,
Perfect.
I think Rajasthan would take some lessons out of that. Mark Boucher sitting there, who's been on our couch before, said, when you've got that kind of chase where it's 7.5 to get, you're supposed to finish the game in the 18th over. So someone pulls trigger at that 15th over mark. You don't wait for the game to go to the 19th and 20th.
Yeah, I agree. But just coming back to Rishabh's point, which he's mentioning post-match, that
please.
the pitch was on the slower side. But I don't see a massive difference between the first and second innings. I can understand it was slightly on the slow side in the first innings, but it was still a pitch where you got off to a good start. You in first 10 overs, they were close to 80, 87.
Yes, correct.
And if they had 180 on the board on that pitch, and look at the way Delhi team had started. In first 10 overs, it looked like it can be a close game, but they lost the game in the next 5 overs. So it was just, they didn't get 20 runs extra, and that's because of their batting. And it didn't look like the pitch played its part in that, because they lost wickets. It wasn't because of the pitch, it was because of bad batting.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at the comparison, 11 overs between the 2 teams, and I take that entirely. We also saw in the last game how Samad gave them 20-30 runs, which won the game, which led to them winning the game against Rajasthan. So if you have Samad playing fast bowlers right at the end, defensively, we saw Badoni take Mukesh Kumar down, but you even put Samad out of position. So it's been a very strange night. Let's talk about the other key batter of the innings, because KL Rahul played situation, and there was no celebration, which I'm a little disappointed with. There's more emotion at Bangalore, but somewhere there's a lot of class in not celebrating that either. He's just seen them over the line, dropped anchor, like Kohli.
You just move on. I think don't carry any baggage from the past, and that's a good thing. Look, KL is a matured player. He has last couple of years he has been batting well across the format, so he doesn't want to think about what has happened in the past. He just wants to enjoy his batting. and be in his zone rather than thinking about what has went wrong with the LSG team when he was playing for them. I think it's good to move on, and which will also help him play well for DC and even for the Indian team, because lately he's someone the Indian team also relies a lot on him with the way he has been batting. So even as a person, he looks like he's a lot more matured now. He understands his game very well. We have seen that this season. We have seen a different KL Rahul. Today, the way he started, it didn't look like that, but still he picked it up. So he knows what he's trying to do. He knows that it's a chase of 160. That's where he doesn't want to bat with a strike rate of say 140, 150. So he was smart with that, because that was the time after between 6 to 10 overs. It looked like they were slightly on the slower side, but after 10th over they picked it up. So they targeted the right bowlers.
KL?
Yeah, captaincy can do funny things to people, can't it? I mean, some people thrive on it, some people it's a burden. Whether that's had any impact, not being captain now, just being free and being able to play the match situation. I mean, we've got this obsession in cricket where your best player has to be captain, or in the main, the best player has to be captain, because you're guaranteed to playing, and if you're the best player, you must know more about the game than anybody else. Well, not always the case, is it? I'm not saying that's the case with KL Rahul, or perhaps even with Rishabh Pant, but it's nice to see KL Rahul play with freedom and looks relaxed at the crease. Yeah.
And he's playing under a very good tactical captain. I think Akshar Patel, the captain, is impressing in his first season. He spoke about his tactics as well, but among the many things they did today, it seemed like they were very well prepared.
Yeah, I like the move to bowl himself out early. I think that made a lot of sense with knowing that Pooran was going to come into the game. He held Stark back specifically for Pooran, and that worked very well, and similar with Kuldeep. So I think hats off to Akshar, a good game, and KL so impressive as well. It's his third 50 of the season, and all in away wins at Chennai, Bengaluru, and now Lucknow.
Fantastic. Also some stat milestone for him, 5,000 runs?
Yeah, 5,000 in IPL, which is, credit to a pretty phenomenal career, really. And I think averaging about 43, 44 in that time. But obviously, the strike rate's gone up and down through that, but when you have a banker like him who's going to score you 400 plus every year, you can see why he's so valuable. I think he's fastest to that landmark as well.
Yes, I'm told. Fastest to 5,000, going past David Warner. Right, time for some questions. We talked about Abhishek Paul, and we did speak of Mukesh Kumar's big impact with the ball first innings, but let's take some questions from you lot first. Ujjwal says that the issue for LSG's management last year was strike rate, this year it's runs. Well, they've been getting them from the big overseas boys. Hawkeye says Pooran doesn't get runs, they don't win. It's that simple. Is it getting to that point now? They're relying almost entirely on the impact of high-class Nicholas Pooran?
No, I don't think it's quite got that far. I don't think it's quite got that far.
I mean, I can see why the questions come today, because you got Marsh and Markram still get scores and a start. But if Pooran doesn't have the even an over-average impact in a game, seems like everything falls apart.
Yeah, I don't see it quite as dramatic as that, if I'm honest.
Ah, come on. I have a talent for drama. I'm trying to suck you into it as well. Let's take some more, shall we? There's another comment saying that LSG's bowling is actually not that good to overcome Pooran less runs, which is quite interesting because Avesh Khan did really well in the last game. They do have a good bowling attack, or do they always need an above par score, do you think?
They have a decent, but they don't have a great bowling attack, I would say. So it's a team where it's a bowling lineup where you need those 10-15 runs extra, because you are opening the innings with Shardul Thakur, who is decent, but he has his ups and downs. He has bowled well in the power play, but there are times where he has been very expensive. Then Rishabh, I don't know why he bowls him in last 5, where Shardul is someone who is very similar to Deepak Char, who should be bowling in first 15, not in the last 5.
Yeah, I mean, game like this, you would think that your best bowler should have bowled 4 overs if you have to lose. Avesh still has 1 left. Prince had a little more than 1 left. Ideally, that's what you would have wanted to see.
Definitely,
right?
because Avesh, the way he bowled in the last game, even if he had bowled first 3 overs when he came in, I think there was nothing wrong with that. He didn't do that, and even Prince Yadav, I feel he's better than Shardul Thakur. So when Shardul came in, Prince should have been bowling that.
Some questions here on Abhishek asks whether Mayank Yadav is fit. He's asking me as I have a source in LSG. How do you know I have a source in LSG? Matt Roller is a source everywhere. He knows it. Yeah, but I do have a source in LSG. They don't talk to me too much these days with the way I'm doing these shows after their games. But we did hear Rishabh say that Mayank Yadav has just come from NCA, and Matt has made a good point on him being only there when they have excess bowling options.
Yeah, and Zahir Khan said in the last game as well, I think pitch side, that they were trying to ease him back in, I think was the phrase he used. So I think he's clearly been cleared to bowl and cleared to join the squad, but it seems like they only want him when there's a sixth option.
You've got to ease him in before the top four get out of reach.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's got to play next game.
Surely.
I also feel that their attack's not incisive enough. Like you can break through partnerships. So you look at today, Mitchell Stark came back with Kuldeep when things were just beginning to be under threat a little bit. So you get two world-class bowlers, one with a bit of pace and bowl a Yorker, and one's got all the tricks. And Bishnoi bowls too quick for me on that surface.
I mean, Digvish has been out-bowling him.
Yeah, and if there's a surface that's a bit bitty and it's a bit, you can get a little bit of hold in the surface, then fine, bowl it into the surface, because then it's going to go quickly and then hold and stop a little bit. That's going to be tricky. But when it's just going through a little bit, if you bowl flat, you can kind of get underneath it and just help it on its way a little bit. So I just felt he could have just changed up a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, at the lounge, I was having a chat with Anil Bhai, and he did mention that when a leg spinner comes around the stumps for a left-hander, it becomes quite easy. And someone like him, who bowls quite a lot of googlies, he should come over the stumps for the left-handers. So that is something which he hasn't done.
It wasn't that easy when Anil was bowling around the wicket to left-handers, let me tell you.
That was a different format, wasn't it?
Aditya Cyclop asks about a different format. Puji, you can take this. Why is Rishabh looking like not one of the best captains in the IPL? His batting in tests say that he reads the game well. I like that, because when he plays situations in test cricket as a batter, you think, wow, this guy can, he's just awesome. But does he not naturally have that sort of reading of game, reading awareness of the game as in the T20 format?
At this point, it looks like he doesn't. But at the same time, talking about his test cricket, he can have extra bit of time when he comes into bat. He knows that bowlers are trying to get his wicket. The field is in. There are a lot of players in the slips. So he has enough gaps when he is batting in the test format. Even if the field is spread, still there are a lot of gaps when he's playing in test format. So it's a different format altogether. You can't compare his test batting with T20 format. Also in T20, when he comes into bat at number 4, 5 later on, the ball is a little softer. The opposition has a proper field set for him. So it's very difficult to compare his test batting with T20 format.
Right.
But talking about his captainship, I think he's someone who is, I would say, little casual in terms of assessing the players. I've noticed that even in test format, that sometimes he feels that he doesn't need to read a lot about the opposition. He believes on his instincts, and this is the format where you need to do a lot of research. You need to know your opposition batters, what are their scoring areas, who are the bowlers, who are the matchups, and that is something I don't know whether he's doing it, because he's someone who is quite reluctant to do that.
I think one thing consistent in both formats, I think you'd agree, Puji, is that he's not very good at the reviews, is he?
Oh, yeah, definitely not. I've had so many conversations with him in test format, so I know that he doesn't have a clue of where the ball is going. And being a wicket keeper, he should know, and he will end up blaming me that I don't know.
He was blaming poor Digvish Rathi today.
He got really dragged into that one, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm sure. Digvish pulled rank. Yeah. Okay, what else do we have? CR7, Cristiano Ronaldo has said, is Pant injured? Heavily strapped hand. I don't know if that was unusual. You picked up on it and brought it up. I don't know if that's a reason for him to go down, but surely not.
He's keeping wicket for 18 overs.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like he's injured. I saw him once when he was keeping. There was a little bit of pain when one ball was a little bit above his hand, but I don't know. It doesn't look like he's injured.
Yeah,
there might be a little bit of niggle. There might be a little bit of twist in his wrist. I don't know.
All right, let's take some more, shall we? RGK says, KL Rahul is still batting too slow. No. Look, if this is one of those LSG employees who's posting from a different account, don't do that. No, RGK, no, we don't think so. And the panel has given their very clear opinion on it. Ajay Sangwan, big round of applause for Akshar Patel's captaincy. Not enough people talk about how brilliantly he's led with calmness and composure. We often discuss Gill, Shreyas, Pant as captains, but Akshar. Yeah, I think it's fair. We've touched upon it, but let's go one more thing. The most impressive aspect of Akshar Patel, the captain, from each of you. Nick.
Calm, authoritative, positive in his decision making, knows his resources really well, reads the game situation well. What I like to see from a captain is ebbs and flows of a game. Are you just ahead of the ebb or are you just behind it? And I think Akshar generally is just on par with, I go back to what I just said about Mitchell Starc. He comes in, one over spells, we just need something a bit more incisive now. We'll get Kuldeep and Mitchell Starc to bowl together. Key moment in the game, that's how I'm going to do it. Rather than let it drift and, the matchup says him and the matchup says that, I'll just drift with that. No, this is the moment where I've got to step in and I've got to make the change. And I think he's pretty good at that.
He did reach that decision because the matchup said, let's bowl Kuldeep and Starc to pull run.
No, because I think he was going to do it anyway. Had to do it anyway. He hadn't bowled him up until 10 overs. You can't tell me he's going to hold him back.
Any longer than that.
Any longer anyway. He should have bowled him before.
Yeah. You know Akshar, and like you've spoken of Pant's reading. What about Akshar's reading of the game?
I think he comes very well prepared. Another advantage Akshar has is Kale is there. He's someone who can be a guiding factor in that team. Kale is someone who has led the team in the past. And I think they share a lot of respect for each other. So the communication is really good. That's what I think. Apart from that, the credit also should go to the support staff because what Akshar is doing, it's not just his brain.
100%. Full marks to Hemang Badani, and who is not a coach we mention often.
Yeah.
And of course, KP, your friends, both of you.
The other thing, with captaincy is we naturally comment on what we see on the screen or what we see at the ground. As we all know, the captaincy is a bit of a dual role. It's what goes on behind the scenes in the dressing room, how you prepare the guys, how you talk to them, how you encourage Pujara to get the best out of himself, how you talk to players, which will be in a different way to different players. So there's a lot of that we don't see that goes on.
I really like how he's managed the three spinners as well, including himself in that, because there's been games where he's hardly bowled himself. Today, Vipraj, I think, only bowled one over. And I think it must be, I assume, really tempting as a captain to think, well, I've got these 6 options, I better use all of them. But in fact, there's been times this season where he's thought, actually, I've seen one over, I don't need any more from him, and that's fine.
I'll throw in one more from mine, that his batting has still been just as good, impactful, and he's taken responsibility to play the shots at just the right time. So Akshar Patel, really well done. Let's take a few more very quickly. Abhishek Porel, good that he's popped up. He's played his role, because there's still, if it's fair to say that there could be games where oppositions will find them out on the absence of that quality overseas guy. Fraser McGurk hasn't worked, Fafa's injured, but Porel in the meanwhile has done a good enough job.
He has. I think the way he has batted, and also he has understood that there are times where he will have to take that risk. And today, all the games he has batted well in the power play, but after the power play, that's the time where he has struggled a bit. And today he showed that he's willing to take on the bowlers when he's batting with KL, because there are times where we have seen, even in last or before that, there was a partnership between him and KL which was very slow. But today, Abhishek was the one who led from the front. He started taking on the bowlers, which is very positive to see.
All right. Abhishek Kumar says, please give me an autograph, Matt Roller. Big fan. He is one of the best cricket analysts the world has ever seen.
Thanks, mate. The check's in the post.
Just keep coming, all those Roller family members in different accounts. Pouring in. All right, Chamira, good inclusion for DC. Swung it up front, allowed Starc to be used differently. So that's good on tactics as well. So that's good. Mohito says, Akshar Patel excels in managing the bowlers at his disposal. And it was brilliant to bring back Starc to face Purania. Lots of Akshar Patel praise. Ronak Sinha says, David Miller is not looking like the fair force he was. Very ordinary strike rate. And he also seems to be dropping crucial catches. Anything there on Miller, such a reputed IPL player, not having an impact?
He's definitely had a much quieter season this year. I don't know whether that's partly because of the fact he's often been coming in a spot behind Pant, who himself has struggled, so he's often coming in straight after a couple of wickets have fallen.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt you. The number of drop catches, Matt, you will have to come up with the stat. I think this is the most number of drop catches I've seen in an IPL season.
Yeah, we've got a piece from the stats team actually on the site on the app today, which backs that up completely. I think it's the
Repeat offenders.
highest percentage of drops. It tells you exactly who the biggest culprits have been as well. So go
all you
I
sadists
haven't
in
seen
the
that.
stats
I'll have a read. I haven't
all
seen
you
that.
sadists in the stats team writing who's dropping what and how many. Terrible. RGK signs off and yells at me. He says, "No, I'm not an LSG employee, Raunak." No, I didn't think you were. Just a little tongue in cheek. But anyway, thank you very much for being part of the conversation. But it's very good game that for the Delhi Capitals, who are just catching up with the Gujarat Titans, looking good with every game. It's time for our rapid fire review. Gentlemen, you know how this works. Quick fire responses to the game. Okay, we'll start with the biggie, all three of you. One word or one line reaction to Rishabh Pant batting at number 7.
Bizarre.
Horrendous. Horrendous.
Good word.
Poor.
Poor. Right. 61 for 5 in the last 9 after being 98 for 1 in 11. Puji, what explains Lucknow's second half with the bat?
Well, they didn't have the right strategy because they had the right platform. Maybe they didn't identify the right batters who could have taken down the bowlers.
Yeah. Nick, what was the most impressive aspect of Mukesh Kumar's 4 for 33?
The Yorker. I want to see that Yorker time and time again.
Excellent. Unbeaten match-winning chase on his return to the Ekana. What will tonight mean to KL Rahul, Matt?
I think plenty. I think it was a command performance from a player who's now had 3 very impressive 50s away from home and all that bit sweeter against his old club.
You can take this one again, Matt. Have Lucknow dug themselves a bit of a hole with their impact strategy in the last few games?
Yeah, I think so. I think they've got to change it up next week.
Which would be, your advice would be?
Keep it simple. 5 bowlers, 6 batters, and play an extra 1 depending on the innings.
Okay, and this is for all of you again. Predict the eventual position on the points table for both these teams. Where are they now after tonight? I'll just tell you in a second. But predict the final points table. I can tell you Delhi are second now, 12 points. LSG are 5th with 10, having played 9. Few teams can climb up on that.
I'm going with 3rd position for Delhi and LSG in the bottom 3.
Okay, Nick?
Yeah, 7, LSG. I'm going to go 3 as well, Delhi.
I think 4 Delhi. I see RCB and MI overtaking them.
I see.
And I'll go LSG 6th, I think.
Well, I did say I'll offer an opinion just every now and then. You know how I'm so keen on. Yeah. That I actually thought Delhi might find the run-in at the end of the season very tricky. They're going to play better teams than this tonight. So if they don't get that right, if they don't get far fit, a few more teams might trouble them. They still have to play Mumbai, GT, Punjab. Those are their last 3 games. Those teams could have a lot to play for. They also have to play RCB. It's a tough 4 or 5 games to go. So not just putting my
What are you saying?
coins on Delhi in the top 4. I don't think Delhi will make the top 4. Genuinely don't. Lucknow are not making the top 4. That I've said for a while. But who cares about what I say? Right, that is pretty much it. I can tell you Delhi's next assignment will now be back to Delhi against RCB. Virat Kohli can go to his turf now and see what he does there. As far as LSG go, it gets tough. They come to the Wankhede for an afternoon fixture. Wonder if Mayank Yadav will return for that one against the Mumbai Indians. Right, Nick Knight, thank you very much. I think the league owes you a cracking game tomorrow.
Yes.
Yesterday, the Eden Gardens, today with us watching this in Lucknow.
Yes.
Come on.
I reckon we're going to get one.
Matt, is that it for you for now?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to going to that Delhi RCB game on Sunday. I think that could be a good one.
Your fans will collapse hearing this. But Matt Roller will still be with us after his brief visit to Delhi, watching a few games, and he'll be back just as the business end is upon us in the IPL. Why don't you send me some of your brilliant notes, and I'll try and at least keep your intelligence as part of the show.
I'll do my best, Ronnie.
Good man, Matt. Puji, this is where I say thank you very much. It's been an absolute privilege and pleasure having you on the couch.
Thank you.
I wish you well going forward. Good luck with the book coming up. Good luck with the season coming up. And we'll love to have you on Cricinfo soon again, I hope.
Yep.
And why don't you tell us right now the final Pujara prediction of who will win the IPL 2025?
It'll be between GT and MI.
All right. Brilliant. Thank you very much to Cheteshwar Pujara, brilliant man and legend that he is. And we look forward to your company for SRH MI tomorrow. Built up just before the toss on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout. Good night.
How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.